Welcome to Memorable Marketing by MediaGroup. On this podcast, we discuss marketing with leading marketers, and we touch on topics like brand awareness, strategy, conversions, content, SEO, and many different subjects. On this episode, we have Gabby Herrera. She works as the brand content manager for Purina ONE. So this promises to be an interesting conversation. I hope you enjoy.
Our main ambition is to stay culturally relevant for our pet parents. People believe in the brands that have been the companionship for them across many, many years.
You're a brand content manager now for the dry pet food section of Purina. And you do that for all of EMEA, is that correct?
For Europe.
I see. And can you talk perhaps about like what are sort of the goals of your role? What are your main KPIs without giving away the specific numbers, of course?
Sure. So basically, I think we have as an ambition, and I think this is shared with most of the brands across the pet category, the pet care category. Our main ambition is to stay culturally relevant for our pet parents. So this is something that it drives everything that we do in a long term. It should contribute to the fact that we want to keep ourselves in the mindset of these pet parents. Meanwhile, they are going through the consumer journey. Then, as more specific KPIs, I would say also, I think this is common for most of the marketeers. Our brand health tracker is one of the things that we also take a lot of care about, and how our equity is driven, how we are connected to different attributes across, that are important to our consumers. And I think we tend to see more the brand side and the marketing KPIs rather than, and probably something that we are changing. How do we also connect that more to
Sales.
media and sales? Yes. And how do we link it to ROI, but share of voice, share of share? So there are plenty of KPIs behind everything that we do. So depending of the team that you talk to, they will also debrief you on many things that we also use to make decisions about where to concentrate or what to push more as part of our media plans and things like that. So there is always the discussion and the balance between the content that we are providing to keep our brand health tracker healthy, and also how can we contribute more to the sales team and to drive purchase.
Sounds complicated. A lot of things to keep in mind, but I suppose if you had to pick, then sort of the brand health is your number one priority. Is that yeah?
I think now it's not a secret anymore that creativity is a driver of brand equity, and I think as that's music to our ears as brand watchers and brand content managers, because that's what all brands are aiming for, to have a strong brand equity and to have a healthy brand for the years to come also. So I was reading some news about Johnny Walkers yesterday, and they were talking about the fact that they are not going to compromise sales short objective versus brand growth and brand equity. And I think this is something that is common, and that is something that we have to continue to educate other marketeers and other teams inside of our organization about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like in the end, the upstream of sales and conversions and everything else is your brand, your brand awareness, your brand preference, and without that, the lower parts don't happen. And I think that that's pretty clear. All right, let's talk a little bit more about your brand, the content and social media strategies, and so on. I wanted to start off with something that came to mind. Um, there is a drive to sort of become culturally relevant for the pet owners, for pet parents, as you might call it. Uh, at the same time, as a non-expert, see that platforms, so companies that are selling some of your products, are sort of grabbing that relationship with pet owners, and at the same time, that there's also, from a product point of view, a sort of threat from small, independent. Kind of mom and pop pet food producers, and it seems to me that you're sort of under attack from both sides. First of all, is that right? And secondly, if that's the case, how do you sort of break through and get that relationship and that attention from the pet parents?
So it's not an easy question to be answered. I think if I can say from my personal opinion, of course, the scenario is complex, and I don't think it's the same across Europe. You have some regions and some markets on which they are probably struggling more on some areas because of the entrance of own brands from distributors. What I can see that is a common factor is the fact that since Purina has based such a strong brand, and that is that trustable to consumers, that continues to pay off because people believe in the brands that have been the companionship for them across many years, at least in the pet parenthood journey. Also because this can be translated into expertise. This also can be shown by the nutritional credentials of the products that they have. So all of these components are making Purina stand out still. Then, for sure, there is always a place to play in each of the channels. So I guess there is a more fluent conversation with the retailers on how can we collaborate together to fill those spaces and those moments on which we have to be there for our consumers. And I'm not talking about product specifically, like what are the territories that as a brand we can also be more present and be more integrated to their day, to the daily days. How can we help them to get better on knowing how to deal with the mental health of their pets, things like that. Like there are plenty of areas that you can interact with them. And I think this is something that probably as a player we have to invest more time thinking of. But I think that everyone is trying to do the role, and I don't necessarily see that a cannibalization between what one is doing and the other one isn't. And coming back to the own brands, I think that the way that they communicate is super product related, and is not necessarily related to who they want to be and how they want to contribute to the to have a better pet owner relationship.
Mm.
So I don't know if that answered your question, or if it was more or less clear, but I try.
Good, but yeah, perhaps to focus on that a little bit more. I hear of sort of platforms that are sending pet owners a birthday cake for their pets, or doing, if the pet passes away, then they do something special for them as well, and these types of relationship touch points are very difficult to facilitate if you are not sort of also the platform owner. If you are the brand, you don't really have that direct connection as much with pet owners. And I suppose that's what I was kind of getting through to, is that being in charge of content means that you're kind of trying to grab people's attention and to build a relationship with owners, and that's kind of hard to do if you don't have a way to have a continuous conversation with those people on an owned platform.
And I agree with you, and I think this is common for many categories. And if you think about how infant nutrition does it, for example, when they are talking uh, when they are taking parents across, and I talk about infant nutrition because it's a category which is quite close to what I do. Uh, I believe that there are bigger opportunities for us to get better there. What I can say is that we also invest a lot of resources in the company to accelerate and contribute to these type of platforms that you are talking about. So as Purina, we do have plenty of other initiative on which we contribute with pet services and experience. So probably you are not seeing any range brand on there, but that doesn't mean that we aren't interested to get to know more our consumers in that sense. So I guess there is still room to do even more stuff and to connect more ourselves to those daily days of our consumers and be present in those moments which are important, as you were saying. Um,
But in a way, your social media is a sort of platform as well to keep in touch with pet owners. Um,
yes, the thing is that the way that they would probably interact with the brand, they would probably do a lot of search as well. So you have to be present in other channels which are not exclusively social media. But yes, social media content, well, using influencers, leveraging content creators, it's definitely good ways as well to keep yourself present and to engage community. Also talking to them transparently. I think being honest and having a transparent conversation about what you are doing, why you are doing it. For example, we have seen it a lot with all the efforts that we have done in terms of sustainability, and that creates conversation and that creates engagement. So I think those kind of topics are always a great way to to open the door for new conversations with your consumers in other topics that are not product related.
and I think rightly so. You mentioned search as an important driver of interaction, of attention, and so on. So I suppose, again, not being from this industry, but I have a big Persian cat called Mr. Fluffy Pants, and I tend to Google things that are wrong with him, and sometimes I indeed end up on the website of a pet food or other related company for advice or for input. Is that the sort of thing that I should be thinking about when you say search and content?
Yes, so I think we all are trying to fill up the spaces. Also, because internally we do have teams of vets and nutritionists which can help us to really map out the right content to address the needs that you probably have. Although we don't want to substitute any of the professionals. Like I think we also have to be conscious that if at some point you are facing really a problem which require a specific answer for your particular pet, it's important to always stay connected to the real professionals, which are the vets in this case.
Yeah, and I suppose again, the link with infant nutrition is very instructive. Also, there, I mean, your job as a parent is basically professional Googler. I I have a 5 month old, so I constantly googling about different rashes or different things. But there's a place for both, I suppose, and you need to, I suppose, be very mindful of not giving any medical advice or not saying this is it, but still there is a place for brand content there that can bring you closer to your brand.
Uh, Definitely. And that's why we also have plenty of teams internally which help us to do that. So every time that we are assessing content which is trying to cover a particular need, we have a full team. Well, I have a full team that contributes with me from a legal perspective, from an RSA perspective, and they all, together with the experts on the matter, they all help me to create the right content to answer to it. So yes, it's not always a process which is happen fast, but I think in any case it should happen fast, because credibility, as I was mentioning before, is one of the main aspects that we have to make sure that we are yes, that we are perceived as a credible brand. So that would always probably take us more time to react and to do things, because we need to contrast what we are saying with plenty of experts inside of our team before we can release something.
Yeah, I would say credibility, but also just like raw awareness, the amount of people that have you top of mind. I mean, it's still, would you say it's a fast moving consumer good? Like it's that type of thing where, it's also quite important to have your logo, your name top of mind when you're making that purchase decision. Um,
I believe there are different ways to create mental awareness of your brand. According to many of the different stories that have been released in the past years, you have to have your brand codes and your distinctive assets. That doesn't mean that they can be exclusively your logo. You can have a character. You can have, if we think about sneakers, for example, with the sneaker bar, or if we think about Kit Kat with the two. I don't know why I'm thinking so much about chocolates, but both brands came to my mind. I think you just have to make sure that you have those distinctive assets, brand assets, and that they are connected to your narrative, so that way they are not attributed to another brand.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess the twin things of credibility, trust, and so on, as well as just like raw mental availability are important. We mentioned social media. We mentioned search. Are you doing things with video as well? Just like on YouTube or other places?
So one of the great things of working where I work is the connection that you have with Google, with Meta, with most of the players, and the trends that they are exposing you to. So we do collaborate quite strongly with them, um, and I think now with AI we are seeing more and more how can we create content which is also more efficient, and how can we leverage more from the content that has been already created, uh, different A/B testing. So video for sure is one of the main touch points or channels, I would say, of communication, or type of content of communication that we tend to invest on, because it's also a great way to tell a story. It's visual. It continues to be quite effective. The only thing is where it has to be positioned. If it's a reel, if it's through content creators, if it's and that, I think it varies from the type of message that you also want to deliver.
Yeah, so I suppose you have content and then you sort of have distribution, and you can reuse that core content in a lot of different ways, package it up, write it down, make it audio, video, reels, images, and so on. And yeah, I suppose a good strategy is omni-channel, and being where all the customers are, where their attention is, where you're getting good interaction, and so on. Are there specific channels that work especially good for you, or you don't want to give away your secrets there?
I think that one I would keep it to myself. What I can say is that it's impressive how the pet parents has have become quite uh, they have a lot of knowledge on what they want and how they want it, and they have become experts on the brands that they also would like to commit to. So I think there is not one channel; it's the combination of different channels that will really make you stand out, because these guys, they will search for brands, as I was saying. and they will search for issues and how to prevent them for going to the vet, and how to really have their pet mentally and physically healthy. All these things they would find the information by themselves. So you just have to make sure that you are connected to all of those moments. So I wouldn't say, I think in general we know that there are some mass media channels which continues to work super well, and I think that's not exclusively for pet for the pet category. Although we have seen that a lot of people have started to use pets as part of their ads. So it's also hard to stand out, because now you see, I think it was Philips using pets. So it's true that other categories have started to see the emotional connection between pets and humans, even if they are not outside of the category. So I guess it's going to get harder to stand out in mass media channels.
Yeah, that's not cool. I mean, cat videos are the pet industry's domain, right? We don't want other industries.
No, I was going to say super something politically incorrect, so I will not say it.
To do it. Okay. Thanks for watching Memorable Marketing by Media Group. This episode, we had Gabriella Herrera from Purina ONE. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. And if you do, feel free to like and subscribe, as they say. Until next time.